Number 35. If you're using Google Maps, then instead of just constantly double tapping to zoom in, you can actually double tap once and then slide up accordingly. Google Keyboard, or Gboard, allows you to take a photo of yourself and then turn it into personalized stickers that you can use on almost every social media. You might have heard of Google Lens. It's something not a lot of people talk about, but it's been silently getting smarter over the last year. You can not just use it to scan everything from famous buildings to fruits and vegetables, but you can now even translate text in real time, and the app uses augmented reality to overlay it into the real world. It's not quite at the bleeding edge of technology, but still pretty cool. But what I think is even cooler is the fact that you can take a photo of text and then this instantly becomes editable. You can copy it, share it, or even find out more about specific parts of it. Now, when it comes to Google Assistant, you probably fall into one of two categories. You either never use it at all, or it's a massive part of your life and you're an everyday user. For those of you falling into that category of people who never touch it at all, you might not know that it can replicate the functionality of a lot of your possibly existing applications. For example, you don't need Shazam at all. All you need to do is to ask your assistant, "What song is this?" and it'll tell you. Something I've personally started playing around with is remotely controlling my phone. You can use the assistant to toggle your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and so on, plus even open third-party applications. You're probably also hearing a lot about augmented reality recently, and if you're anything like me, a lot of it will make your eyes literally roll into the back of your head. But I was pretty surprised when I found out that just by searching for certain animals on the internet, Google lets you visualize them to scale in the world around you. If nothing else, it's a cool party trick. And whilst we're talking about your Android browser, Chrome lets you switch between tabs really quickly, just by swiping, which, considering I currently have about 50 open tabs, is pretty handy. If that appeals to you and you're really into your productivity maximization, then you might also know that Google Chrome can be used in split screen. But this gets a lot better when you realize that any text that is selected can then be copied to the other open app just by dragging. So you could forward a specific part of an article to a friend or instantly plot the location of somewhere you're trying to get to. Dark mode has become a bit of a fascination recently, with it being able to save power on some devices and just being a nice change from all white menus. Turns out, you can get dark mode on almost everything. With most recent phones, you should find the option in display settings, but this only tends to change UI elements, not third-party apps. We can take this further though. On Google Chrome, you just need to head into the Chrome Flags section, which houses Google's behind-the-scenes experimental options, and enable it there. Even applications like Facebook Messenger, they have a dark mode too, which I just keep on by default now. It actually gets a lot better if you head into developer settings, where if you've got a Samsung phone running One UI, you can set the phone's internal dark theme to sync with the time of day, so everything will be light while the sun's out and dark when you need it to be. Plus, if you're on Android 10, you can actually force dark mode in other apps, even when they're not programmed with it. This includes even WhatsApp, which has been famously slow to adopt the feature. Also, if you are using a Samsung phone with One UI, then Hex Installer is an absolutely amazing way to get a completely new look, all without root. If, by the way, you enjoy the kind of straight-to-the-point approach that I'm doing with videos now, a sub would be massively appreciated, because there is a lot more coming. Wallpaper Modder is an application I think I mentioned once last year, but I'm still using it 3 times a week. Essentially, get any wallpaper you like and use it until you get bored. But then, instead of switching and spending ages searching for the next perfect background, this allows you to really quickly change the one you've got. So for example, I really like the stock wallpapers on the Samsung Galaxy S10 5G, but the problem is that there are only 3 built into the phone, and I want more but in a similar style. This app is a really easy way of achieving that. If you're the kind of person who takes a lot of screenshots, you've probably at some point experienced a hand juggle like this. It doesn't help that I'm using one of the biggest phones out there, but you see my point. By using an app called Screenshot Assistant, you can remap the screenshot to just holding down your home button, and when you do that, you get an instant share button pop up, so you can send that meme as quickly as possible. Okay, back to the assistant, and you probably know Google loves hiding Easter eggs inside their products, and not really telling anyone, just letting people find them. In the past, I've showed you that telling it "I'm feeling lucky" will bring up a full multiplayer quiz, but there's a lot more. You can actually ask for specific quizzes based on things you're interested in, for example video games or songs, and you can play quite a few multiplayer games, including one called Brainstormer and one called Ding Dong Coconut, which is such a Google thing to do. There is even an RPG called Game of Castle, which is a fully narrated adventure where you listen to the host talking about the scene and you respond with how you want to proceed. I also just really like the option to ask Assistant to tell me something funny. It'll bring out one of those kind of cringy but also kind of endearing jokes, and the cool bit is you can actually schedule it to send one every day of the week. Oh yeah, one last Assistant trick. you can tell it to remember stuff. So for example, remember I've left my wallet in my jacket pocket, or remember that I have indeed locked the front door on my way out, and at some point in the future you can tell it to remind you. Notify Buddy is an application that gives you your notification LED back. This is a feature that a lot of phones are losing now with the move to borderless displays, but this app uses the pixels inside your screen to recreate that functionality. I would say it still feels a bit beta in that it's lacking some important features, but it does give you fine control over color and which applications to apply to. Accurate heart rate monitor doesn't need a massive amount of explanation, but it's convenient in that you just place your finger over the phone's camera for a few seconds and bam, you've got a reading. It's probably not the one if you need professional medical help, but at the same time, if you're just trying to keep track of your fitness levels over time, it'll do the job. Falling very much into that cool party trick category is Face Pause. Installing this application allows you to pause games and videos just by looking away. It's not something I'm personally going to use, but I could see the appeal. Moving on, I've already shown you some of the cool stuff that Gboard can do, but there's also a lot of useful stuff, the kind of stuff that actually made me switch to using it as my primary keyboard. If you hold the Enter key, it becomes a mini keyboard for one-handed use. If you then press this icon here, you can freely move the keyboard around within the entire bottom half of your phone. And if you want full control, you tap these three dots and select Floating. It can then be any size and anywhere. There are quite a few situations I've been in where I just wish I had a dice to roll or a coin to flip to settle some sort of score. Randomizer Plus lets you do exactly that, and quite a bit more. Basically anything you'd want to pick randomly from, like any letter of the alphabet or any card from a full deck, it can do. It can even play rock, paper, scissors for you. It's really well done, I just wish there were fewer ads. Now, one of my favorite Android tips is one of the simplest. If you're getting a call and you want to silence it, just turn the phone over. You can also double tap your multitasking key to quickly get to the last used app. Okay, now for a couple of things to do with theming. By default, most phone setups don't have much uniformity when it comes to color. And in my opinion, your home screen will often look a lot better with 2 to 3 colors maximum. So start by finding an icon pack you like, as this is normally the harder bit, and then find a wallpaper to go with it. For example, the skyline icons have a really eye-grabbing blue and white neon aesthetic, so I found a background with a complementary theme and colors, and it just looks like they were made together. Also, for an absolutely killer live wallpaper, take a look at the Better Fish by Maxilus. It is super well animated and also primarily black to save some of that battery you'll lose by having a moving background. Okay, number 1 is VMOS, a fascinating tool. It allows you to run Android within Android. It gives you the equivalent of 2 separate devices, to which you might well be thinking, one device is already enough, why on earth would I need 2? It comes with some surprising benefits. It allows you to completely separate social life and work life, with your personal set of accounts logged in on one Android and your work ones in another. This virtual system can also be really easily rooted, let you play a full-screen game whilst also doing something else, and potentially use apps that were previously incompatible with your phone. It is a little bit prone to crashing on my Samsung, but some of the reviews on the Play Store are glowing, so it might work better on yours. If you enjoyed this video, I've got a ton of Android customization like this, so I'll leave some of that linked as a card above, as well as a pinned comment below. Thanks for watching, my name is Aaron, this is Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'll catch you in the next one.